In the criminal underworld, nothing captures the public's attention more than the moment when infamous gang members finally face justice. From dangerous gangs like the Trinitarios to heavily sought-after fugitives like George Gald Thomas, these hardened criminals invoke both fear and curiosity. But what happens when these men stand before a judge and face life sentences? In this video, we will take a look at the top 10 most wanted gang members and see how they react to their final punishment. Prepare yourself for unexpected and shocking emotions. The brutal murder of Lisandro Guzman Feliz, known as Junior, on June 20th, 2018, shocked the entire United States, highlighting the extreme violence of street gang conflicts. Junior, only 15 years old, was chased down and attacked by members of the Trinitarios gang in the Bronx, New York, due to their mistaken belief that he was a member of a rival gang. In a horrifying incident, he was dragged out of a convenience store and assaulted with a large knife on the street. All of it captured on surveillance cameras, leaving the community in shock. The Trinitarios, a Dominican gang established in the late 1980s in New York, is notorious for its brutality and ruthlessness. The gang's name derives from the word Trinity, symbolized by the 3 dots in their emblem. This gang operates not only in multiple states across the U.S., but also in the Dominican Republic, spreading fear through numerous violent acts. In Junior's case, although the young boy attempted to seek refuge in a store, the gang members pulled him out and continued their assault, showing no mercy. This tragic outcome led to the arrest and prosecution of 8 gang members on serious charges. Those charged included Kevin Alvarez, Elvin Garcia, Antonio Rodriguez Hernandez Santiago, Jonaki Martinez Estrella, Jose Muniz, Jose Tavares, Manuel Rivera, and Daniel Fernandez. During the trial, although the defendants attempted to shift blame onto each other, the overwhelming evidence led to a strict verdict. In June 2019, 5 of the main defendants were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, while the remaining 3 received sentences ranging from 23 years to life. This tragic outcome led to the arrest and prosecution of 8 gang members on serious charges. Those charged included Kevin Alvarez, Elvin Garcia, Antonio Rodriguez Hernandez Santiago, Jonaki Martinez Estrella, Jose Muniz, Jose Tavares, Manuel Rivera, and Daniel Fernandez. During the trial, although the defendants attempted to shift blame onto each other, the overwhelming evidence led to a strict verdict. In June 2019, 5 of the main defendants were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, while the remaining 3 received sentences ranging from 23 years to life. Montana Barronette, a notorious member of the West Baltimore drug gang known as Train to Go, was sentenced to 2 life terms in prison for his role in the murder of 6 people. With a violent and ruthless nature, Barronette's social media activity hinted at his dangerous disposition. In one post, he wrote, "Some of my enemies would lose their lives if I could do it." Baltimore police labeled Barron as one of the city's most dangerous troublemakers. His criminal career began at 13, involving illegal drug trafficking and violent acts. By age 21, despite having been attacked twice, Barronette continued his criminal path and quickly rose to become a key member of the Train to Go gang. His brutal acts included the assassination of Antonio Addison in front of his grandmother's house, shocking the entire neighborhood. During the trial, the mother of one of the victims called Barron the spawn of evil and expressed her grief over the loss of her child. Additionally, reports of witness intimidation and federal police officers being attacked while escorting Barron's co-defendants raised significant concerns throughout the proceedings. Although Barron's lawyer argued that his client had a troubled childhood and was a victim of his circumstances, the judge was not convinced, emphasizing that it was Barron's own choices that led to this outcome. The judge affirmed that Barron posed a serious danger to society and must take full responsibility for his actions. As the sentence was handed down, Barron Montana remained calm and expressionless, while many relatives of the victims chose to stay silent out of fear for their safety. The sheriff present at the sentencing emphasized the importance of apprehending dangerous individuals and the collaboration between law enforcement agencies to maintain public order. Barron Montana's sentence sent a clear message that violent crime will not be tolerated, and those who commit such acts will face serious consequences. Aiden Fucci, only 14 years old, committed one of the most shocking crimes in recent Florida history on May 9, 2021. Fucci took the life of his 13-year-old classmate, Tristan Bailey, leaving her body in a wooded area near his home in St. Johns County. This brutal crime stunned the local and surrounding communities, leaving many questioning how someone so young could carry out such a horrifying act. Fucci had a troubled past, with numerous reports of mental health issues and violent outbursts. He also struggled with drug and alcohol use and had been suspended from school multiple times. Despite clear warning signs, Fucci's parents seemingly failed to provide him with the necessary support, leaving him to face his challenges without adequate help. In June 2021, Aiden Fucci was arrested and charged with murder. Although only 14 years old, he was tried as an adult and faced a life sentence without the possibility of parole. The evidence against Fucci was overwhelming, including DNA and forensic evidence directly linking him to the crime scene. On October 8, 2021, after just 2 hours of deliberation, the jury convicted Fucci of first-degree murder. The judge quickly delivered the sentence, sentencing Fucci to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge noted that, despite Fucci's young age, he fully understood the gravity of his actions. According to the judge, Fucci intentionally took Tristan Bailey's life simply to experience the sensation of killing, fully aware that the consequences would be severe. The decision to try Aiden Fucci as an adult sparked controversy, with some arguing that his age and mental state should be taken into account. Though he showed little emotion during the trial, Fucci appeared shocked by the sentence. His legal team indicated they would appeal, arguing that Fucci was too young to fully comprehend the severity of his actions. George Gioweld Thomas, a notorious criminal in South Africa, was sentenced to 7 life terms on June 3, 2015. Born in 1963, Thomas grew up in the violent Cape Flats area of Cape Town, infamous for its gang activities. As a member of the notorious 28S gang, Thomas was involved in drug trafficking and committed brutal acts to maintain his power. Thomas's criminal career began in his teenage years when he was recruited into the gang. Over time, he quickly rose through the ranks and became one of the gang's most feared members. In 2006, Thomas was arrested and charged in connection with a series of crimes, including the murder of 7 people, one of whom was a 6-month-old baby. He faced over 50 different charges and received a life sentence for each one. Even while in prison, Thomas continued to orchestrate criminal activities. During his time behind bars, he organized 4 assassinations, demonstrating that his power and influence remained undiminished. In a trial that began in 2010, Thomas and 6 other gang members were sentenced to life in prison, while the remaining members received prison terms ranging from 12 to 25 years. The trial was seen as a major turning point in the fight against organized crime in South Africa, shedding light on the crimes committed by gangs from 1999 to 2010. Witnesses faced significant danger, with some even being assassinated to silence them. Thomas, who showed no remorse, made over 30,000 calls from prison, including orders for witness assassinations. Despite overwhelming evidence and testimony, Thomas remained calm and smiled throughout the trial. His sentencing was regarded as a significant victory for the South African justice system, sending a strong message that gang-related crimes would not be tolerated. Abel Gallegos was sentenced to life in prison, plus an additional 163 years for his role in a brutal revenge plot, which included the savage murder of Isabela Talas Duran. Together with accomplices Rene Francisco Rosales and Alonso Quintana, Gallegos committed a series of serious crimes that left the public outraged and horrified. Isabela Talas Duran became the target of Gallegos and his gang after she identified Alonso Quintana as being under investigation for a failed assassination attempt on November 5, 2018. A sinister plan was orchestrated to exact revenge on Duran. Gallegos contacted her through social media, arranging a meeting at a Denver home with Rosales and others. Initially, everything appeared normal, but it was merely the calm before the storm. Rosales left the house, leaving Gallegos and Duran alone. Gallegos then drove Duran to a parking lot where Quintana was waiting. There, the two attacked Duran, tied her up, and locked her in the back seat of the car. She was taken to a remote area in Golden, Colorado, where the gruesome crime unfolded. Duran endured 10 assaults before being brutally burned alive. Judge Phil McNulty, who presided over the trial, expressed disgust at the inhumane nature of the crime. He emphasized that the act was not impulsive but carefully planned and calculated with the intent to kill Duran in a ruthless manner. Judge McNulty specifically noted that Abel Gallegos was the gang leader, the mastermind behind everything, and that his actions displayed an unforgivable cruelty. Although Gallegos continually denied the charges, claiming he had no involvement in Duran's death, legal evidence and witness testimony in court proved otherwise. The overwhelming forensic evidence and witness testimonies exposed Gallegos' involvement in the crime. As a result, he was convicted of multiple charges, including murder and kidnapping. When the verdict was announced, Gallegos showed no emotion, maintaining a chilling silence. The life sentence plus an additional 163 years served not only as punishment for his brutal actions, but also as a deterrent to prevent him and his accomplices from reoffending in the future. This sentence stands as a testament to the justice system's severity toward heinous crimes and sends a clear message that such inhumane acts will not be tolerated. The Gangster Disciples gang shook the city of Atlanta with one of the most serious crimes in the city's history on November 16, 2016. A group of gang members was sentenced to life in prison for their involvement in the brutal killing of Christopher Dean. The incident took place in front of a MARTA station, where Dean, a father of two, was viciously attacked with a baseball bat. These gang members were identified as part of the Gangster Disciples, notorious for their history of violence and criminal activity. They often operate in the West End neighborhood and are involved in various crimes, from drug trafficking to other serious offenses. In Dean's case, he was invited to the home of Xavier and Orlando Gibson, along with Christopher Lockett, with the intention of making a deal. However, the situation turned deadly when Lockett discovered that Dean had previously served as a witness in a California case. The group decided to make an example of Dean. He was attacked with a 2x4 wooden plank and a metal bar, after which his body was placed in the trunk of a car and abandoned at an Atlanta MARTA station. Tragically, his body remained there for 30 days before it was discovered. The brutality of the attack shocked the community, leaving a lasting emotional impact. In 2018, the jury found Lockett, Gibson, Cortez Clark, Rooks, and Green guilty of murder. The Fulton County prosecutor described this case as one of the most serious in recent history for the county. The sentences for the defendants were severe. Lockett received life in prison without the possibility of parole. Clark was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms plus an additional 5 years. Green received life plus an additional 3 years, while Brooks and Gibson were also sentenced to life in prison. Judge Gail S. Tuzan emphasized the severity of the injuries that Dean endured, attributing the attack to gang-related activity. She described the case as a sobering lesson, underscoring the heartbreak of parents who must witness their children being taken from them far too soon. Throughout the trial, the gang members showed no remorse for their actions. Their silence in response to the verdict was a testament to the cruelty and indifference they held toward their own actions. Victor Rodos, an alleged member of the notorious MS13 gang, was convicted for his role in the brutal death of 17-year-old Raymond Wood in Lynchburg, Virginia. This murder resulted from a fake drug deal that Rodos orchestrated through a series of text messages. Wood was allegedly kidnapped by Rodos and 5 other accomplices. In this gruesome crime, the group strangled Wood until he passed out in the back seat of a car, then attacked him with a 17-inch knife. Rodos was convicted of first-degree kidnapping and participation in gang activity. The MS13 gang, also known as Mara Salvatrucha, is considered one of the most violent and dangerous gangs in the world. Founded in Los Angeles in the 1980s, the gang has expanded its operations across the United States, Central America, and Europe, known for its brutal tactics, including assassinations and human trafficking. Gang members often have tattoos to signify their affiliation with the organization. In court, the jury sentenced Rodos to 55 years in prison, including 35 years for murder, 10 years for kidnapping, and 10 years for participating in gang activity. The medical examiner determined that Wood died from injuries to his neck, torso, and hand. Meanwhile, Rodos's defense argued that he was wrongly arrested and accused another MS13 gang member, Jose Carrias Ventura. However, evidence presented in court showed that Wood and Rodos knew each other, along with text messages Rodos sent to lure Wood to the site of the ambush. Rodos showed no reaction to the verdict, which was nonetheless seen as a significant victory in the fight against the MS13 gang, an organization that has caused a wave of severe violence across the United States. Anthony and Michael Carpio, 2 brothers with ties to a street gang, were convicted of the murder of Kevin Arana in 2013, an 18-year-old student at Cleveland High School in Retta, California. The incident occurred following a dispute between Kevin's group and the Carpio brothers, quickly escalating into a brutal fight. Anthony, then 18, faced a sentence of 16 years to life, while Michael, 20, received a 15-year sentence. Los Angeles County Deputy District Attorney Scott Marcus noted that both were convicted of second-degree murder on October 31, 2016. Alongside them, Michelle Pan, an accomplice, was sentenced to 2 years in prison for being aware of the Carpio brothers' crime but failing to intervene. The incident began on September 18, 2013, when an argument erupted between Anthony and Kevin, leading Anthony to attack Kevin with a knife while Michael prevented the victim's friends from intervening. The prosecution argued that the Carpio brothers acted with intent and malice, targeting Kevin simply because he was not a gang member. Witnesses testified that the brothers had previously threatened Kevin and had a history of violence. In court, the 2 brothers expressed remorse and apologized to Kevin's family, but the judge emphasized that their actions had inflicted deep pain on the victim's family and the entire community. The case serves as a stark example of gang brutality and a reminder of the devastating consequences of violence. It stands as a wake-up call about the need for collaboration in the fight against organized crime and the importance of protecting younger generations from the traps of violence and fear. Three members of the Rollin 30s Crips street gang in Roanoke faced severe sentences related to 2 high-profile murders. Sean Denzel Grant, also known as Sean Garrett, 31, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder and was sentenced to 37 years in prison. This sentence was part of a comprehensive investigation into the criminal activities of the Rollin 30s Crips, a gang notorious for its violence and drug trafficking. Trayvon Casey, 21, the gang's leader, also pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder, weapons possession, and violent acts to commit robbery. He received over 40 years in federal prison. Another gang member, DeMonte Mack, pleaded guilty to similar charges and was sentenced to 36 years in prison. At a press conference, Daryl Lee, the father of one of the victims, shared his perspective on combating gang violence in Roanoke. He emphasized the importance of teaching children right from wrong within the family. We can invest all the money in prevention, but if we don't address the root of the problem and teach children the right values, the violence will continue, he stated. U.S. Attorney Christopher Kavanaugh also spoke about the case, saying that gun violence in the community is unacceptable. He pledged that his office would continue to pursue gang-related activities and consider ways to classify such crimes as federal offenses. Although investigators believe the Rollin 30s Crips gang has been eradicated from Roanoke, the U.S. Attorney's Office continues to monitor and investigate other gangs in the area. A fourth gang member has also pleaded guilty and is expected to be sentenced soon. The sentencing of the 3 Rollin 30s Crips members demonstrates the seriousness with which the justice system and law enforcement are tackling gang crime. It is hoped that these sentences will serve as a deterrent and help reduce violence in Roanoke, bringing peace to the community. Stephen Rios, an alleged gang member, was tried and convicted for brutal crimes connected to a murder that shocked the community. Rios reportedly meticulously planned to lure the victim, Kenneth Lopez, out of his home with the help of other gang members. After successfully coaxing Lopez out, Rios carried out the attack in a ruthless and cold-blooded manner, even boasting about the assassination afterward. Rios's criminal actions demonstrated a chilling level of determination and indifference. During the trial, Assistant District Attorney Max Bennett did not hesitate to describe the gruesome details of Rios's crime, emphasizing the cruelty and intentional nature of his actions. Strong evidence and testimony from multiple witnesses left the jury with no doubt about Rios's involvement in the case. Ultimately, Rios was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison, along with an additional 15 years for the unlawful possession of a large-capacity firearm, a particularly serious charge given that the weapon was found near children. In court, the victim's family expressed their deep, unending grief, stating that Kenneth's death had left a significant void in their lives. Judge Mark D. Mason condemned Rios's actions, highlighting that leaving a deadly weapon accessible to children was an unforgivable crime. Although defense attorney Mary Ann Stamm attempted to dismiss the charges, arguing that the witness testimonies were personal and possibly influenced by internal gang conflicts, the jury was not convinced and found Rios guilty. Share this video to raise awareness and help young people better understand the paths they can choose. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other impactful and meaningful stories. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Together, let's work toward a better future, free from violence and crime.